One night, Peter pulls a flyer out of his pocket. It's an advertisement from the social committee of their apartment building for a workshop about planning ahead for medical care. Peter convinces Joe to attend and says it doesn't involve leaving the building, so Joe agrees. They go together and learn about the steps of advanced care planning. Think, talk, plan. That evening, Joe remembers what he thought about during the medical show and shares his wishes with Peter. He asks Peter to be his representative if something ever happened to him, and under no circumstances to allow him to be transported to the hospital or to have CPR. Although Peter doesn't necessarily think this is the best choice for Joe, he recognizes it is his decision, and Joe feels very strongly about it, and it aligns with his values and the behavior that he's known of Joe for the past 40 years. Together, they download a copy of a representation agreement delegating Peter as Joe's substitute decision maker. Joe books a telehealth appointment with his nurse practitioner and shares his wishes. She agrees and signs a do not resuscitate order and mails it to Joe. Joe puts a copy of the representation agreement, the DNR, and a piece of paper outlining his strong desire to stay at home no matter what happens. He puts all of the documentation on his fridge. He checks off the steps in his mind. Think, talk, plan. He knows it's all taken care of. He doesn't need to dwell on it anymore and can just go on with his life. One night, Joe wakes up, feeling like there's an elephant sitting on his chest. He's nauseated and terrified and calls 911. When the paramedics arrive, Joe has collapsed on the couch. They quickly glance at the fridge and see the paperwork there. After reading it, they knock on the next door apartment. It takes some banging, but finally Peter hears them and comes right over. Because Peter is the substitute decision maker and the documentation is all there, the paramedics don't need to transfer Joe to the hospital. They stay with Peter and Joe for a while. Spike is curled up beside Joe, and Peter sits with him on the couch. He is comforted by the paramedics, and then makes the necessary calls once Joe has passed on. As the years go by, Peter remembers Joe as he sits with Spike purring on his lap. He is comforted by the memories they shared, and by the knowledge that he helped Joe to have the peaceful ending that he wanted.